We've seen a huge interest from the African market as well.
Lovely.
So we rent out shelf space to them. We afford them the opportunity of being in retail.
Okay.
Right.
One thing that came out very strongly is just the attitude of resilience. It's such a key component to have, and sometimes it's not something that can really be taught. It's something that can be caught.
I made quite a lot of money that December, and I was like, actually, there's an opportunity,
Yes.
to have a store that's dedicated to local brands, and
Hi there. Welcome to Monetize Your Business podcast conversations in partnership with FNB. I'm really looking forward to today's conversation, but we are switching things around a little bit. As a podcast and as our conversations progress, we're always looking to add in some more meaty content. Now, I'm always flying with my co-pilot, but he's not just a co-pilot. He is a fountain of knowledge, business education. So one of the new segments within our podcast is to pick Papa Biz's brain. He's always reading a book, listening to a podcast, attending a conference. There's always something new to acquire from him. So, Papa Biz, how are you today?
I'm very good. Thank you. It's great to be here, as we'll be chatting with Ria as well. And,
Absolutely.
just looking forward to it.
All right. So this week we want to just tap into your brain a little bit. Any aha moments from this week that you can share with us, a business lesson, something that's intriguing you at the moment?
Yeah, I've actually been reading this book, The Story Brand. And one of the things that came up, which I found interesting, he spoke about how the importance of companies to simplify.
Yes.
So they'll use like American examples, but I'm always looking to see how can this apply in terms of South Africa, ourselves,
Yes.
and local businesses. And he used an example about how there's a company called Spectrum in America. They deal with all things pet related. And when he went to go and work with that company, they had a big issue that aquariums the sales were extremely down over the years. They hardly sold any aquariums. It was more sold to adults. And he worked in to see, how do you simplify this correctly so that the messaging can go out into the marketplace, that sales can pick up. And they went into depth to understand the market and who the clientele should be. And what they came up with is a campaign. And all the campaign said is, kids love aquariums.
I love that. Simple.
Kids love aquariums. And it's interesting, if you go to any place with aquariums, even Shaka Marine, that's kids love aquariums. It's just all over the place. And that's 3 simple words they used. And the sales shot up by 99%. And I thought that was, I really took that to heart, because sometimes, even in the entrepreneurs that we engage with, and you ask them what they do, it's a whole bunch of things they're discussing. It's a lot of waffle. And we've also been in that position where you're just waffling. And when you waffle, the messaging doesn't actually go to the target audience that you want to come and spend money with you.
Yeah.
So it's important to find ways, invest time to just simplify what we do, and then simplify the messaging. And then just consistently send out that messaging so that it resonates with the target audience. So that was something that I picked up. I thought was quite useful.
Yeah.
It's from the book called Story Brand.
I love that. And I relate to that a lot, because I think that sometimes we do tend to over-explain.
Yeah.
And we want to go on and on. And actually, the more complex something is, the more simplified we need to make it.
Yeah.
So that's a very nice lesson. Thank you so much for sharing that.
That's so good.
So this week, we've got a wonderful conversation. We've got a nice guest, Rearabetswe Dire, and I'm very excited to have a conversation with you today, Ria. You are within the retail and beauty space, not the easiest space to be in. So welcome to today's conversation.
Thank you so much for having me, Hetty and Papa.
Welcome.
I'm so honored, actually, to finally be here. I mean, I've been looking at you as a female entrepreneur, and I must say your journey has actually been so inspiring to just see how you've just managed to evolve. So I'm actually very happy to finally meet you. And
Thank you.
I've known Papa for some time.
For some time, eh?
Yes. I met him in Milan.
Oh, yes, where we actually have a joint joint retail history together.
Yes. So, yeah.
I'm very excited. And in fact, before we get into that, I always love to get to know a little bit more about the guest, kind of like your early context, because it also helps us to be able to paint a picture before this huge success story. Who was Ria from the beginning? Where were you born and raised?
Yes, so I was born and raised in Pretoria, in Garankuwa specifically.
Oh, Garankuwa. Okay.
Yes, which is like the north of Pretoria.
Yes.
So, funny enough, I actually believe that my upbringing actually set me up for entrepreneurship.
Okay.
Because we actually had a spaza shop and a tavern at home growing up.
Oh, wow. Okay.
In Hammanskraal. So that was my first introduction to entrepreneurship, working for our family business. And I was working in this spaza shop. I was responsible for making sure that we always had paraffin. All the paraffin bottles were always filled up and so forth. So I sort of had like my own little business within my family business.
Oh, wow.
And I think that's my first introduction to entrepreneurship. And I must say, I learned a lot of things from that, because with that also comes, stock management.
Yes.
And my mom was a nurse, and then, my stepdad was, that was his income.
Okay.
So it was like sort of, how do you now take a family business and live off of it, and taking profits but also reinvesting into the business, managing stock, interacting with customers. I think I learned a lot of valuable skills at a young age, and that's when the entrepreneurial bug, I believe, actually bit me.
Lovely. Wow. That's amazing. And how did your family respond to this entrepreneurial bug that you had at a young age? Because sometimes I find some families love it and others are like, hey, focus on the books.
So I studied chemical engineering, right? And engineering. I'm a master's degree holder, and during my PhD.
I love that.
But at this point, I don't know if I'm going to get that PhD.
You'll get there.
That's so much work. But I studied engineering, and then when I was doing my internship, I entered at TIA, which is the Technology Innovation Agency in Chemicals. So they assist SMMEs formulate like beauty products, detergents, like a lot of stuff. And that is where I actually learned how to formulate cosmetics and started my own brand. And then I started it, but I was still at school.
Yes.
So I think my family were just, this is probably a side hustle. And then it grew into something more. But I've actually been very blessed with a very supportive family.
Okay.
I mean, from the get-go, everybody was very supportive. So I think when I decided to take that route, obviously my parents were a bit hesitant that you have an engineering degree. Why are you not going to, sort of
Didn't you find the engineering, it's quite male-dominated?
It is very male-dominated.
How did you survive in there?
So funny enough, actually then worked for a consulting company that was in the mining industry, right? And I would even go underground and all of those things.
The overalls and everything.
Yes,
with the hats.
overalls, the hats. I have pictures and everything. So it was very male-dominated, but I specifically left that company because it was, Caucasian dominated. And when you get to certain settings, they want to use Afrikaans and, you get into those environments and it became a bit too uncomfortable and, it became sort of like a toxic environment as well. Cool. So I do think that number one, engineering is male dominated, but when you get your male counterparts and they're not very inclusive in the conversation, it makes it even worse.
Yeah.
So I think that was something that also pulled me also towards beauty as well.
Yeah. Have you always been a lover of beauty?
I used to be a tomboy. I used to wear boxes in grade 8.
Oh my goodness.
I was a tomboy. I think my mom at some point actually thought that I would be lesbian because I'd climb trees, I'd do all these things. Yeah. I think I started being a girlish girl in varsity.
Okay.
When you're preparing to go out with your friends, it's like the whole makeup, the whole hair. I think that's when, and I think it was because of the influence of the kind of friends I had around me. They were very girlish. And I actually started enjoying it. At first, I was like, what is going on here? Like, this is not my vibe. But yeah, and then after that, I just fell in love with beauty. I just fell in love with being such a girlish girl.
That is so nice. So how did that love now turn into business?
So, while I was interning at TIA, like I said, I learned how to formulate products, and then I started making my own products. You know, I started off with fragrances. My mom used to work in Saudi Arabia, and she used to wear like your D&Gs, your Versace, you know, your Gucci, all these.
They're big on fragrances.
Yes, they are so big. The Arabs, and you know what? I couldn't afford those, and I liked smelling good.
Yes.
So I started selling perfumes in school, started my own brand, then started making hand lotions, then started selling to people, and I was like, oh, okay, I can actually make money out of this.
Yeah.
Started going to markets. I don't know if you guys remember, you used to have that market at the Sheds.
Yeah.
Walking in the
Victoria.
Yes, Victoria.
As well, yeah.
Oh, really? So I used to go to a lot of those. And then I think COVID, a lot of shops had essentially closed down in mainland. I'm sure you guys were there in COVID, so you experienced that entire turmoil.
Yeah.
And then we had like a pop-up with market at the Shades in mainland.
Yes.
So that was 2020, and I made like 50 grand out of that. And I was like so happy. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have to actually go to a market. I've just been here for a week and I made so much money. 2022, I went on my own, had another pop-up store, and then, hey, I was like, actually, this is where I need to be, because also when you're at markets, it's so hard to get people interested.
There's so many people walking past,
and like cosmetics, you'd be like, no, this is a great hand lotion, no, this is a great body. It's so hard because people are there usually for the music, for the food, for the ambience, you know, for the thrifting. It's really not the right environment. But when you're in the mall, women are there to experience, to sample, to engage. That is the right setting.
It's the perfect setting, actually.
For beauty, you know? And I was like, hey, I was rejected by one of the biggest retailers. They had this huge discourse with Tresemme. I don't know if you guys know the retailer.
I remember something with the Tresemme brand, yes. Okay.
Yes, and then they started taking a lot of local brands in. That's how a lot of the local brands got into this retailer.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about. So then I applied. I went through, you know, a long process. And at the end, I was sort of told that no, because I don't have sufficient following on social media.
Okay.
Really? So they actually considered that?
Funny enough, when you look at the other international brands, they don't consider that. How many international brands do we discover on the shelf that you've never seen before, and you see it, you like it,
and then you just buy.
You just buy it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for me, it was a bit disheartening. And because I engaged with so many other small businesses, I realized that is the same thing that we're all experiencing, you know, the barriers of entry of local brands. And for me, it really baffled me because we're in South Africa. We're South Africans. Why not allow South African brands to participate in the economy?
Yes.
You know? So it was a bit disheartening in that regard,
Yeah, I find it quite interesting because especially in the retail space, you'll see that there's a preferential discourse given to the international brands. And if you're international, it's almost easier to get into these retail spaces, which it shouldn't be the case, especially in our big malls where it's very convenient for people to go into, because that's where, you know, we would see that there's an obvious gap where you can bring something that's locally produced to meet the market. And like you'd say, it's good to be at the pop-up markets. You need to be there to be able to figure out what people actually want, what's working compared to what you had in your mind. At the same time, there's a point where you will outgrow it, thinking, I need something a bit more formal. I need to be in a bit more formal space where my target audience is, and now how do I actually get there? So, I mean, so you were saying that you went through quite an iterative process to get put onto the shelves, and then what happened after that?
So after that, then, the second year in 2021, that's when I went back. I made quite a lot of money that December, and I was like, actually, there's an opportunity, you know, to have a store that's dedicated to local brands, you know, and I mean, through my engagements with local brands, I had a whole entire list,
Lovely.
We approached mainland. It was not easy. We literally, imagine trying to convince a whole entire mainland that you're coming with a new concept that's going to do local brands. They had the craziest questions for us. How are you going to manage stock? Are these people going to be able to deliver on time? You can't be out of stock. So it also forced me to sort of come up with a whole entire system, because sometimes you have a dream, but you haven't thought out the entire system of how everything is going to be, how you're going to manage so many brands stock, how you're going to manage sales, how you're going to manage payments, and all those things. And started the planning process, found systems, found all of these things, had all these answers for mainland. I was literally going to their offices like every week. I'd stand outside the office and pray, and still working. I used to be a junior lecturer, funny enough, at CET.
Yeah.
And I'd be praying before I actually go in, and I'll be like, God, today's the day that I get approval. Today's the day. And I think they just let me in because I was just so persistent.
You were persistent, yeah.
They were like, she really knows what she's looking for. So, finally got into mainland, got approval, and then came the funding. Oh, my God.
So,
was that a big challenge for the business?
It was a huge challenge.
Okay.
We obviously started out with the various government entities that are there for funding. They are not the easiest to deal with because they have like prerequisites, right? And we had submitted everything. They were like, hey, listen, we need a lease agreement. And then I said to them, listen, mainland has given us approval, but if I push for the lease agreement, you only get maximum 2 months to do shop fittings. From thereafter, you're liable for rent.
You have to start immediately.
You have to start immediately. So I then
the shop fittings, they're not... I mean, I don't know how you find it. I remember our first shop when we started, and now people are talking about shop fittings. And I'm thinking, the what? Where? Where do we get the lights?
Don't know where
do you even start?
Yeah.
Even something as simple as signage. I don't know if you've found it the same. I remember with our first store, we were in a place in Maboneng. And all the stores there, none of them had signage. They were all waiting for center management to give them signage.
Do something, yeah.
And so we went round to go and figure out where to get signage. And when we put it up, they were all shocked. And it's just interesting, the journey, because you don't know. You don't even know where to
You have
begin.
to learn along the way.
And it costs money.
It costs a lot of money. And I like that you touched on the fact that you don't know where to begin, because some of the things you don't even know what they're called. Like, honestly speaking, I don't know what it was called signage. I was just describing it as that box that has the store name. It's like you're taught so many things through the journey of actually opening up a retail space. And we applied at these government entities, they take their sweet time. Literally at a point where in 2 weeks' time, we have to start with shop fittings.
My goodness.
We need to pay a deposit. And that is when we just went to go get a bank loan. A business bank loan. And I think that was our saving grace. Obviously, the interest is not so favorable. But what that actually taught me is that... as a Black woman, as a woman firstly, and then as a Black woman, it's so hard to actually source funding.
100%.
It's also really hard to get people to believe that you're actually serious. It's like we have to work twice as hard to get, just a fraction of the attention, a fraction of the recognition. So, it's actually really hard. I was actually listening to a lady. She owns Topicals, which is like a beauty brand from Nigeria. And she's like in Sephora and all of these things. And she was even saying, even at her level,
it's
still
hard
still a struggle,
to raise funds. And I was like, that is so crazy. You would think if she's at that level,
that it would get easier.
It would get easier. Like, she's in these international spaces. We just operating locally. And it just really baffled me.
I'm interested to hear your view on kind of taking matters into your own hands as small businesses. Like you said, sometimes we approach these big retailers and we don't always get a seat at the table. But inside of you, you know that you've got such a great idea. And sometimes you realize, actually, maybe I need to take matters into my own hands, build my own table on my own terms. Tell me a little bit about kind of that mental resilience that you had to go through when that big retailer said no. You then saw yourself as your own big retailer.
I think it was very tough, Firstly, I had to literally downgrade my entire life. I literally had to move out of my apartment, move back home, So it took a lot. And I do believe that sometimes people don't go after their dreams because of the sacrifices it requires.
Yes.
And you don't even know if it's going to work. You literally just have to have, like, if you're an entrepreneur, you need to be believing in a higher power, because it's so crazy out here. But I won't lie and say it was easy. I've had nights where I'm crying myself to sleep. I have nights where you don't even sleep because you're so stressed. And,
Absolutely.
And it's unfortunate that as South African entrepreneurs, we have to go through such things.
Yeah.
There's no support out there, and it's a bit disheartening. I mean, I was at an event with you, Papa, and we were listening to all these different institutions speaking about there's money, you guys don't apply, and I can literally say I did another application in November, and I'm still literally nowhere. November of last year.
That's crazy. Now
I'm
after
literally
even being established. Sure.
So, yeah, no, it's very difficult. I believe that the lack of these institutions not supporting us is contributing to the high unemployment rate, because when you look at various businesses that are out there, they have the capacity to employ so many more people.
True.
And sometimes I don't even really think it's just about money. I do think that they could put measures in place in terms of the amount of funding maybe I might be asking for,
Yes.
Pay me with a mentor that's in the industry that will be my accountability partner in terms of how money was spent, and, all those things. There's things I can put into place. But I think my biggest thing is that the people that are in these institutions know nothing about business.
Yeah. No.
They do business on theory.
True. They're not on the ground.
They're not on the ground. So everything to them is literally theoretical.
Yeah.
Why do you want money for marketing? What do you mean?
Yeah. And it can make them quite out of touch, hey?
I think, there's actually a group that I think we'll look to connect you with definitely even after this at FNB, but we'll have a chat about that afterwards. What I wanted to ask you is that, because I remember when the store opened and I came there, because we also used to have a store at Menon, and I saw it was exciting, and the celebrations and everything, and all the different brands. And I mean, even as you spoke about it, often I would live through this thing of when you are finally an entrepreneur, you're full time, you are able to sleep like a baby, which means you wake up every 2 hours crying. So, because you'll find things like staff, suppliers, and then managing the finances and the marketing and the law aspect, and you think, wow, I'm just one person. I'm just one person. Where do I start? What do I need to pay attention to? But also, I find it was very gratifying to be able to look at something that you have developed and it's there, and people can come and see, and you can go and see, and this is what I'm working towards. Would you also experience the same thing?
Definitely, I'm sleeping like a baby, even now. I was saying to Hetty that I feel like I'm a fireman, I'm a firewoman. I'm always putting out fires. But it does bring some form of gratification. And I think one of the biggest things that I'll always do is literally work on the floor in the store.
Yeah,
engaging with.
I find you there.
Yes, I feel like sometimes when you're having such a difficult time, it's so nice to speak to customers that are actually benefiting from an idea that you started from the ground up. So it does give that thing of, you know what, no, this is actually good, which, you know, like having customers come in that, you know, I used to have such terrible skin or such terrible hair, or I never used to be as confident. And those things, I think for me, that is the best gratification ever, because if you're doing something and it's not impacting someone or changing someone's life, then what really is the purpose? I mean, besides money, we all love money, but there has to be a greater purpose to things than that. And it also gives me such great purpose, and sometimes it scares me that I'm actually responsible for people's livelihoods. So I can't afford to fail because there's families that are dependent on
there's a lot on the line.
So sometimes when things are not going well and I'm scared, my first thought is always my employees. Like, I really have to make this work because people are depending on me. So it is gratifying. To answer your question, it is, you know, scary, it's gratifying, but
huge responsibility,
and also having to manage so many personalities.
Because you've got lots of different suppliers and everything.
In fact, can you talk to us a little bit about the business model? Because you're not just selling your own brand, but you're actually working with small businesses, which I really applaud you for. I think that's amazing. How does that actually work, and what are the benefits for these small businesses?
Okay, so what Edenvine Beauty does is that we retail African beauty brands. So we used to strictly do local, but we've seen a huge interest from, you know, the African market as well.
Lovely.
So we rent out shelf space to them. We afford them the opportunity of being in retail, right? We partner with them in terms of accessing the market, being visible, engaging with customers. So it's more than retail space, because what I also do is that we have a component in the business called key account management, where I'll literally sit with individual brands and we'll look at opportunities to grow, you know, how to maybe improve your marketing, your pricing, your value proposition, different kinds of activations you can do, what product lines you can venture into that would complement what you currently have. So I also do a lot of business support, because I'm mainly very passionate about brand building. And you know, we've had some amazing brands that came in that were making, I mean, 200 rand, you know, they are now sitting at making 30,000 rand, you know. Yes, so I have brands that we've literally grown together. For me, that has been absolutely so amazing, because it's like, you know, it's like seeing a baby literally grow. You know, you've seen their first steps, you've seen them evolve and grow, and I'm just really passionate about the local economy.
100%.
And including not just locals, but Africans into the economy. I think I was really excited when I heard about the free Africa trade, because there's so much money in Africa.
Definitely.
Everybody comes to Africa. Yes. Everybody comes into Africa to get something from Africa and then ship it off and go make something and come resell it to us.
It's true.
And for me, it's really amazing to see, you know, brands in Botswana, in Nigeria, in Congo, in Kenya, coming up with such high-end brands. And I'm like, this is actually Africa. And I think my dream for Edenvine Beauty is to be all over Africa.
I love
you know,
that.
and serve African people. Be inclusive within the African economy. You know, allow everybody to participate in the money that is roaming around that we're not necessarily able to sort of touch as the indigenous African people. And I think for me that is what I do, and that is where I want to go.
That's
wonderful. Cool. And then I wanted to check, you had spoken to us as well that you're now also looking to go a bit more into manufacturing as well.
Oh, yes. I'm so excited about that. I was actually in the lab on Friday.
Oh, nice.
You're still an engineer, eh?
Yes,
you're still bringing in those engineering skills.
So I had actually paused on my personal brand for the past 2.5 years to focus on growing Edenvine. Edenvine,
Yes.
and I think we're at a point where we're ready to bring Edenvine brands. So it's no longer going to be my individual brands, it'll be Edenvine brands. And I think the timing is so perfect because we've learned a lot.
Yes.
The reason why I also work on the floor is I ask my customers a lot. Like, if anyone has been assisted with me, I will ask you, how did you hear about us? How did you? So it's like my own market research while I'm on the floor,
Yes.
So yeah, I'm back to manufacturing. It's super, super exciting. I'm hoping for, all the best.
I'm sure you're going to do great because you've gotten so much research just from being in the retail space, being on the ground and working with other businesses.
Definitely. By God's grace.
There we go.
Amazing. By God's grace, yeah.
Tell me something, in all these years now within retail, working with small businesses, managing staff, managing your finances, suppliers, what are some of the biggest business lessons that you've learned along the way?
I actually did a video on this the other day. The biggest thing I've learned is that processes and systems can either break or make a business. And I think for me, they've made my business because I understand that dealing with small businesses, we're very cash strapped. You need your money as quick as it goes out. So I pay my suppliers twice a month.
Sure.
I'm able to manage each brand stock, pull each brand's sales, so individually. So I think my processes are one of the biggest things that I believe have made my business. Number two is having great interpersonal skills. And I will say that starting off the business, I didn't have the greatest interpersonal skills. I was you give me that kind of attitude, I'll give it back. But now that I've learned to be more observant, and more restrained in the feedback that I give back, because you would understand that if you're working with people, there's different personalities and you can't always put your emotions before your logic. Your logic needs to come before your emotions. So I think that's something that I have learned. And I think number two is that I've learned to be solution orientated. And I think that's the best way you'll ever survive in business. You can't spend too much time on the problem and, oh my gosh, it's so bad. Oh my God. I literally give myself 3 business days if I have time. If I don't have time, I literally give myself a minute, be absorbed by the problem and immediately go into solution mode. Understand what the problem is, go into solution mode, go into, you have to just, patch wherever it's okay. I think those are the most important business lessons. But the one thing I believe has gotten me thus far is determination and perseverance.
Okay.
I don't take no. I take it as a redirection. If you're going to say no to me, Hetty, I'll be like, okay, Hetty, no, that's cool. I'll see you in 2 years. We'll work together.
So not now.
It's a not now, And it's also sort of like a redirection to something else. And now that I think about certain things that I have not received or attained in business at the moment, I realized that I was not ready at that point in time. And I actually learned this from a Joyce May book, where she made like a simple analogy that you can't pray to God for a car, but you don't know how to drive, you don't have a license, and
you must prepare for it.
You need to be prepared for it. And for me, I always take it as that yes, I'm asking God to grow my business. Yes, I'm asking God to do XYZ. I mean, I had a target this year, so we recently upgraded our website and all those things, and I had a particular target of how much I wanted to make on the website. But then when, the past 2 months, we've been fairly busy and actually realized that I'm not prepared for that capacity.
Okay.
Because now I'm processing orders in the mainland store, which is the biggest, the busiest store out of the 2. And I'm like, I need to, prepare. I need to streamline. I need to find a way to do things. And I think for me, that's also something that whatever you want, you need to ensure that you're prepared for it.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can't be praying for things because then you're not gonna know how to handle the blessing.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, you're gonna mismanage it, and then it's not going to be sustainable. Then you're gonna lose it. Then, yeah.
Okay.
100% sure.
Yeah.
Those are actually very big fundamental lessons.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing those nuggets with us. As we begin to wrap up our conversation, let me throw the ball into your court, Papa Biz, just in terms of the nuggets that you have gotten from our conversation today with Ria.
You know, Ria, I've obviously known you for a little bit, and it's interesting. I didn't know this aspect of your story. One thing that came out very strongly is just the attitude of resilience. It's such a key component to have, and sometimes it's not something that can really be taught. It's something that can be caught. And I'm hoping that those that listen to this podcast, they will actually catch that about the need to have that level of resilience, just to be able to push for what you're looking to do. And then just on a more practical level, that actually spoke to me, and it just reminded me just the importance of business owners really not looking down upon, but taking it as a big advantage to be able to access customers directly.
Yes, yes.
Especially spending time in the store.
Yes.
And then just listening on different elements.
Yeah.
Connecting with the customers, because they're the ones at the end of the day that are keeping the lights on.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And you, as a business owner, you will hear things differently from customers as compared to staff.
Absolutely.
That's just the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
So at least with that, those are the two elements that I got that I really appreciated.
Those are fantastic nuggets. Ria, what final words would you have for the entrepreneurs that are watching and those who actually want to come to Edenvine, buy these African-based products, etc.? How do they go about doing that?
Okay, so firstly, anyone that's looking to purchase Edenvine beauty products, we house African beauty brands. I'm proud to say we have over 105.
Oh, wow. Jeez. God.
105 African brands in the store. You can find us on www.edenvinebeauty.com. Follow us on any of our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, which is Edenvine Beauty.
Lovely.
You'll find the locations of our stores in Menlyn Mall as well as Randburg Square.
Okay.
Lovely.
And I think one of the things that I'm really proud of that we integrated into Edenvine this year is actually started doing free skin and hair consultations.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Okay.
Where we analyze people's skin and recommend products to alleviate whatever beauty concern they have according to their skin type, their budget, and so forth. So we've had some really great results. We have some amazing reviews on social media.
Oh, wonderful.
But I think in closing, I'd like to say that for anyone that wants to go into business, I sometimes see that people go into business to solve their immediate problem. They don't realize how much work it is, how much you have to change and evolve and do all these things. I think number one, perseverance and determination is very key.
Yes.
Because you're going to find a lot of challenges, a lot of stumbling blocks, a lot of redirections. But if you're determined, you will still make sure that redirection gets you to your goal.
Yes.
Number two, entrepreneurship is all about solving a problem.
Yes.
I like what Papa was actually saying in the beginning when he was sharing his nuggets is that as an entrepreneur, when someone says, tell me about Edenvine, I want to first start by Tresemme, and you're not actually saying that, listen, we're housing African brands that provide solutions to your beauty concerns.
Yes.
Simple.
Here we go.
It's unique.
Simple.
Yes, simple. And I think that is very imperative, for someone to know what it is your business does. How do you separate yourself from every other, I would say, retailer out there, So always know what is your unique selling point, your USP, your value proposition. What is it that you bring? And work hard towards your business.
Yes.
I might be in the same business or same industry as Papa, but how he managed to grow his business might not work for me.
True.
Might not work for you as well.
Yeah.
So do what it takes, and I think for me, I struggled with that. Because I would look at what all the other brands are doing and I'm like, why am I not winning in that formula? And you realize that because when you're doing what Hetty's doing, you're not articulating Hetty's USP. You're not articulating your own USP. So that's why it's not working for you the same way it has worked. Yeah. So I think, and working hard, I think we've gotten to an age where we don't like working as hard anymore. Like, I see the 2000s, sorry to shade them. They're a lazy generation. They will find like the easiest ways of doing stuff. And I think when it comes to entrepreneurship, a lot of mental application needs to go into it. And I think we're losing that. We're slowly losing that. And I think we need to go back to mental application.
100%. Thank you so much for sharing those nuggets with us. I think for me, I really just appreciate your transparency in your journey. Because often at times we see where people are now, but we don't see where they started. And sometimes we get rejected along the way. Sometimes we need to find a way to make things happen. And I think when we are honest about our entrepreneurship journey, it also just manages new business owners' expectations in terms of what it actually takes to succeed. So I appreciate your honesty about your journey, and we definitely wish you all of the very best.
Thank you so much for having me. I think it's been amazing. Always love sharing my journey. I really enjoyed this conversation.
Awesome. You are most welcome. Monetizers, that brings us to the end of this week's podcast conversation. Please share your aha moments with us within the comment section. Make sure that you visit Edenvine Beauty Stores. We're going to leave all of the descriptions within the description box. Make sure that you do visit them and plug into our social media platforms. That is at Monetize Your Business. Until our next conversation, bye-bye.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.